All right, let's talk about the JavaScript toolkit jungle. Grunt, Gulp, Webpack, it's a lot, right? If you've ever felt totally lost trying to figure out which tool does what, stick around. We're going to untangle this mess once and for all.
You know, this quote from Stack Overflow, it just hits the nail on the head. I'm totally new to this, and it seems completely nuts. I mean, who hasn't felt that way? You're just trying to build something, and suddenly you're drowning in this alphabet soup of tools. It feels like chaos, because honestly, it kind of is.
So, yeah, have you ever felt lost in this JavaScript toolkit jungle? Like you've been dropped in the middle of it without a map or a compass? Well, today we're going to draw that map. We're going to give you that compass to navigate all of this.
And here's the secret, the real key to understanding all this. Forget trying to memorize every single tool name. It's impossible. Instead, let's focus on the job each tool is trying to do. Once you do that, you'll see that pretty much everything falls into just 3 big buckets. And that makes things way simpler.
Okay, first up, package managers. Think of your project like a workshop. Before you can build anything, you need your raw materials, right? Your wood, your screws, your paint. That's what these tools do. They're your suppliers, the ones who deliver all the code libraries you need right to your doorstep.
So, what exactly is a package manager? Well, it's a tool that completely automates getting the code you depend on. Instead of going to a website, downloading a zip file for, say, React, and dropping it into your project, you just tell the package manager, hey, I need this, and poof! It goes out, grabs it, installs it, and even helps manage updates. It is an absolute game changer.
The main players here are npm, Bower, and Yarn. What's interesting is how they approach the job. npm, which is kind of the granddaddy of them all, uses what's called a nested structure. So if 2 of your libraries need different versions of another library, no problem. npm just installs both. Bower, which you won't see much anymore, did the opposite. It had a flat structure, which meant you had to figure out those version conflicts. It was a headache. And then Yarn came along as a faster, more reliable alternative to npm, with cool features like offline installs.
All right, so you've got your supplies, your workshop is stocked, now you need to actually build something. This is where task runners come in. These are like the power tools in your workshop, the automated saws and sanders that do all the boring, repetitive work for you over and over again, perfectly every time.
So, what kind of work are we talking about? Think about all the tedious stuff you have to do as a developer. You know, compiling your Sass into CSS, shrinking your image files, minifying your JavaScript to make it tiny, all that stuff. A task runner automates it. You set it up once, and it just runs. It saves you so much time and stops you from making silly mistakes.
The 2 big names you'll hear are Grunt and Gulp. They do the same job, but in totally different ways. Grunt is all about configuration over code. You write this big configuration file that lists out all the steps. It works, but it can be a bit clunky, sometimes creating temporary files between steps. Gulp, however, is code over configuration. You write actual JavaScript, and it uses these things called streams to pipe your files from one step to the next, all in memory. This usually makes it a lot faster.
So, okay, this all sounds pretty useful. You probably think you have to use a dedicated task runner for any serious project, right? Well, maybe not anymore.
And this is a perfect example of how fast things change in the JavaScript world. It turns out your package manager, specifically npm, got powerful enough to handle a lot of these simple tasks itself. You can just add scripts to your project's configuration file to run things like linters or tests. For a lot of projects, that's all you need. No Gulp, no Grunt. It's so much simpler.
Okay, this brings us to our 3rd and final category. And honestly, this might be the most crucial one in modern web development: module bundlers. Back to our workshop analogy, this is the final assembly line. It's the part that takes all your finished pieces, packs them into a box, and gets it ready for shipping.
So why is this so important? Well, we write modern code in lots of small, manageable files called modules. But browsers, they don't really like that. Loading hundreds of tiny files is super slow. So a bundler is like a super smart detective. It looks at your main file, follows all the connections to every other file you need, and then bundles them all up into one or maybe a few highly optimized files for the browser. It's a massive performance boost.
Aha! And this is the question that confuses everyone. the one from that Stack Overflow post that started this whole thing. Where does a tool like Webpack fit into this picture? Is it a task runner? Is it a bundler? What is it?
Let's just get it out there, nice and clear. Webpack is a module bundler. That is its main job. Yes, it can do other things, and we'll get to that. But at its heart, its whole reason for existing is to bundle your modules.
So what makes Webpack so special? Well, it doesn't just look at your JavaScript. It builds a map, a dependency graph of everything. Your JS, your CSS, your images, even fonts. It sees them all as part of the project. Then it uses powerful plugins called loaders to process each file type, like running your modern JavaScript through Babel to make it work in older browsers. And because it can do all of this, it often does the job of a task runner too, which is why people get confused.
Now, you might also hear about a tool called Browserify. It was a real pioneer in this space, and it's great, but it really just focuses on bundling JavaScript. Webpack's big innovation was taking that core idea and saying, hey, why don't we do this for everything? And that all-in-one approach is a huge reason why it's become so dominant. Okay, so we've got our 3 categories: package managers, task runners, and module bundlers. Let's pull it all together now and see what a simple, modern setup actually looks like in the real world.
And you know what? It's often way simpler than you'd think. Step 1, you use a package manager, npm or yarn, to install everything you need. Step 2, for little jobs like linting or testing, you just use npm scripts. And step 3, you hand everything over to a bundler, like Webpack, to package it all up for the browser. That's it. That's the core workflow.
And this right here is the big takeaway. The trend is towards simplification. You don't need a half-dozen different tools anymore. For most projects, you can get by with just 2, a good package manager and a powerful bundler. And that's fantastic. It means less stuff to learn, less configuration to fight with, and fewer things that can break.
But of course, in the world of JavaScript, nothing stands still for long. I mean, we're already seeing new tools like Vite, Parcel, and Rollup that are even faster and promise zero configuration. So the final question is, what's next? As browsers get smarter and the web platform itself gets more powerful, what's the toolkit of tomorrow going to look like? That's the exciting part.